Ribs are one of those dishes that are amazing when done right and downright depressing when they're not. That kinda goes for meat in general, but while I've had plenty of good chicken, I can't say the same for beef and pork. Maybe I'm just not rich enough to eat where they cook them properly. Unlucky. Anyway, when I started this channel, I knew I'd eventually run out of recipes that I know how to cook, so I figured why not jump straight into the deep end from the get-go. Not only try new recipes, but entire types of dishes.
Rice a bit crunchy, but...
For example, I've never cooked a whole cut of pork in my life. Sure, I've done bacon, sausages, ground meat, but never just a chunk of pork, if that makes sense. And that changes today. My local supermarket had a sale listed for ribs, so I thought, perfect. I don't own a smoker or a grill.
It's smoking, so I'm the meat chef.
But I've got an oven. That'll do. I scouted the internet and found a recipe that looked trustworthy. Turns out I already had all the ingredients except for the meat. Odds are you probably do too. I was really excited for this recipe. It's been a while since I've had a good rack of ribs, so I buy them, toss them in the fridge overnight, and mentally prepare myself to spend all of tomorrow cooking them. Morning comes around, I have my coffee, and it's finally time to take them out of the bag. I take a glimpse at the recipe, and the first step is to remove the membrane from the back. Naturally, I get to it. Halfway through, I start to realize that something doesn't quite add up. These ribs don't have ribs, they're just meat.
You serious?
After a brief consultation with the internet, I discovered that in my country there's a practice to label cuts of meat according to the rough area where they're taken from.
What?
So the ribs are actually just rib adjacent. Well, it's too late to return them and I'm too stubborn to quit. Welcome to I Can't Cook Ribs. Because I don't have any.
This is where I put
my ribs.
if I had
Any.
So I keep trying to peel off this membrane. It kinda works, but not really. I remember that the recipe said I can pull on the membrane with a paper towel, which sort of helps, but at the same time I'm working with a completely different piece of meat. So I don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I don't know what's going on, I don't know where I am, I don't know who you are. Please get out of my kitchen. Ugh. But, as someone said once, apparently, the show must go on. I trim off what I can, then season the meat generously with salt and pepper. I preheat the oven to 135 and wrap each slab in foil. Badly. I look at them and immediately decide to double wrap my meat so it doesn't dry out completely.
Giggity.
I shove those bad boys in, set a time of 3.5 hours and head to the gym. Back from the gym, I've got 30 minutes left on the timer. I take them out of the oven and what do you know?
It's raw. It's f***ing raw.
Starting to get really hungry at this point, so I crank it up to 160 and give it another hour. Meanwhile, it's sauce time. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of onion, which in this case seems like a really dumb measurement, so I go with half a small one. And I decide not to use my food processor because cleaning. So you get to watch me struggle to dice an onion like a caveman. Once that's finally over, I heat a pan to medium and toss in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. The recipe did say to use 1, but I kinda forgot, so... Once the oil is hot, I saute the onion for about 5 minutes, add the ketchup, the cumin, which I was supposed to add before the ketchup, oops, vinegar, hot sauce, and sugar. The recipe says 2 tablespoons of sugar, I go with 1 since my hot sauce is already sweet. I simmer until gloopy, and it's done. It's been about 5 hours since I started this whole endeavor and the ribs that aren't actually ribs are ready to be taken out of the oven. I slather on the sauce, crank up the heat to 200 on broil, and back in they go. 5 minutes later, caramelized. Flip, more sauce, another 5 minutes. After all this, they almost burn. almost. So, time to give a verdict. Meat's tender, pulls apart nicely, it tastes decent, especially on the outside. The sauce, not bad, but not barbecue. More sweet and sour, almost Asian style. Looking at real barbecue sauce recipes, I now see why. Would I make this again? Probably not. Would I try actual ribs with a different recipe? Absolutely. For the effort this took, the result was fine, just not really worth it. Mostly because I was following a rib recipe without any actual ribs. But I don't think I would have rated this recipe very highly regardless. Anyway, on a scale from 2, I'd give it a. And that's all for today. Thanks for hanging out, feel free to leave a comment telling me what you'd like to see me cook next, and I'll see you in a bit.